All right. Hey there, everybody. How are you doing this Thursday afternoon? Welcome to our Thursday live webinar. Today's topic is how to invest in real estate's biggest trend, new construction. I'm Leah College, an investment counselor here at RealWealth. And I'm excited to bring you this presentation today. It is officially New Construction Income Property Month, the whole month of September. Every week, we're either featuring a market that offers new construction homes, and this week I'm teaching you kind of a broader education webinar on how this process works and why new construction is so hot. Before I get into today's webinar, I want to just stop for a quick moment on this slide because yesterday I was so struck by the date on this slide, September 10th, and I just had a moment where I couldn't believe that September 11th was 19 years ago. And I was encouraged because I was just recalling how, I was a teenager at the time and how scared and hopeless and challenging that day was. But I was encouraged. Looking back on it 19 years later, you can see the grit and the determination and the fortitude of a nation who's endured a lot. And thinking about that in today's context with just all we have going on. Yesterday, I was on and off the phone all day with people who were looking at ash outside their windows. We've just had a rough year. So I feel like this September 11th, I'm personally just reflecting and holding on to that hope that things get better. And 19 years from today, we'll look back at 2020 and we'll be reminded of that grit, that fortitude, and that determination. So just want to give you that encouragement before we get into today. Want to give you some teasers for some upcoming content that we have. Like I said, this month is New Construction Income Property Month. So next Thursday, we are going to be talking with our team in Atlanta, Georgia. They're going to highlight the new builds that they've got available. And then September 24th, the following Thursday, we're bringing on our Jacksonville team. They're building new construction homes in Southwest Florida. So those are two great markets that offer a lot of the product that we're going to be talking about today. So if you are curious about either of those two markets, be sure that you stay on the lookout for the link to register. Those should be coming out in the weekend newsletters. And then there's always a link to register on the investor portal. I'd love to see you at both of those. And then we've missed you guys. We are not able to do live events like we normally do. So we are going virtual with a virtual live event on Saturday, September 26th. Be sure you mark your calendars and get registered for this event. Again, it's in keeping with our theme of September, new construction. Kathy Fecky, our CEO, is going to moderate a panel with some of our RealWealth investors who have purchased new construction homes. I've been talking with a couple different members who've bought, some of them almost a dozen new construction homes in different markets, and they're going to share their experiences with us, and we get the chance to ask them some questions, hear how those properties have performed, hear about their due diligence process and how they chose the markets that they chose. I think it's going to be awesome to hear from the three of them. And then we are bringing on all of the teams that offer new construction. They are all reserving exclusive properties for RealWealth members through that weekend. So we've got each one of these teams to commit to reserving a certain number of homes, and we will be featuring that available inventory. It'll be exclusive to RealWealth members through that weekend. So again, stay tuned to New Construction Month, and then the grand finale is this live event on the 26th. Again, the link to register for this will be in the newsletter this weekend, and you can always find it on the investor portal. Hope you guys will join us for that. I think it's going to be a really, really great event. So our standard disclaimer, so the strategies that we're going to talk about in this presentation might not be appropriate for everyone. There are other options that we won't talk about that might be more suitable for your specific situation. So as always, you want to consult your own personal advisors, an accountant, a tax advisor, or an attorney to discuss your specific situation. I am none of these things, so I am not offering you tax advice, legal advice. I'm not a financial planner. I'm just another investor sharing my experiences with you and telling you how I see it and things that have worked for me from my perspective. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Real estate purchases are, of course, subject to investment risks, including the possible loss of total amounts invested. So while I've made every effort to maintain accurate and current information, the possibilities of errors and updates always exists. All right, for those who don't know me, a little bit about myself. I'm an investment counselor, like I said, here at RealWealth. I'm also a real estate investor. I joined this network as an investor, just like you, many years ago when I got really serious about expanding my portfolio from a long distance. I'm married to an active duty Army officer. His career has taken us all over the world, got to live in Asia, Europe, most recently South America. We lived in Bogota, Colombia, and actually just moved this past summer. And I think that our military career is a lot of why we decided to get serious about investing in real estate. We realized, hey, we're living in high cost areas, or we're living in areas that are extremely far away from places where we can invest. So we really needed a method to acquire properties long distance, and found RealWealth while we were living in Europe, and expanded our portfolio pretty substantially while we were living over there, and we continue to do so while we move around the country. So been investing for about 10 years now. I'm diversified across a couple different markets. I really enjoy the creative outlet of flipping, and certainly love the fast cash that it brings, but I know that long-term wealth is generated through long-term buy and hold real estate. So that's why really passionate about this topic. So nice to meet you guys. Glad to have you here today. If you have been following the headlines, recently you have seen this trend. New construction is being talked about all over the place, it seems. New construction home sales are the highest they have been since the housing boom of 2005. Kathy Fecky, our CEO, she did an interview with John Burns last week on a podcast. And he told her that he's been talking with some, national level builders who've been doing this for, 40 years. And they shared with him that they have never experienced the type of demand and the sales volume that they are experiencing right now. So there is just tremendous interest in new construction, tremendous demand. John Burns, same guy. His firm reported last month that there was a 55% annual increase in new construction home sales nationwide, with an 84% jump in Florida. And I specifically called out Florida there because we have a lot of teams selling new build homes in Florida specifically. Look at that 84% jump just in the last year. Single family homes rose 14% just from June to July, according to the Census Bureau. So it is growing. It is heating up, and I don't see it slowing down, at least in the somewhat near future. Though we've got our finger to the pulse, and we are keeping kind of a close watch on this trend. We've been in contact with all of our teams, and they're all kind of echoing the same thing. Sales is extremely high right now. But when we know we have high demand and we have low housing supply, that's also going to come with some other economic impacts, right? The cost of lumber is going up tremendously. It's up 134% from last year. All of our teams are reporting, seeing or at least being aware of supply chain issues for appliances, for the building supplies. They're having to order parts and order components well in advance of when they need them, just to make sure that they get there in time. The cost of building a single family home is up more than $16,000 since mid-April, according to the National Association of Home Builders. So everybody's feeling this squeeze. Everybody's feeling this demand. Just since April, look at that, up $16,000 to build the same house. And then this last point here, median sales price of a new home that sold in July was $330,000, which is up 7.2% from a year before. So the numbers don't lie. I mean, this is a trend. Prices are going up. So we see this real steep increase in demand for this product, and prices are going up. So we recognize here at RealWealth Network that this is an opportunity, but there also might be a narrow window of opportunity for us as investors. And that's part of the reason why we really decided to dedicate this month to new construction. We recognize that, there's tremendous interest in this. You can see here over half of the RealWealth preferred property teams are now offering new construction homes that positively cash flow when you come in as a leveraged buyer. So when you come in with just a 20% down payment, you can still get new build homes that cash flow, which is amazing. There's a clear trend with our investors and the properties that they're putting under contract right now. 75% of the homes that RealWealth investors have under contract are new construction. And as I mentioned earlier, prices are going up. Several of our teams have announced recently that they're seeing these small incremental increases in their sales prices. So that margin for investors is starting to narrow. That window of opportunity is not going to be around forever. So again, this is, I think, extremely timely while we still have these great deals, and certainly while we have our teams who are reserving these properties specifically for you. I think this might be a great opportunity to strike while the iron's hot. All right, so that's a little bit of an introduction kind of to the trend, explaining, why this is something that's got our attention. But I want to spend some time kind of talking about the landscape of RealWealth and all of our different teams that offer this specific product. As I mentioned, more than half of our teams are now selling new build homes. And part of that, I think, is also a result of just the market. Housing supply is low nationwide. A lot of these providers when we worked with them initially, they were buying distressed homes, they were rehabbing those homes and then selling them to investors. But the supply of those homes that are distressed has been eaten up. And so it's getting harder and harder for rehab teams to find property that they can rehab and still make some money for themselves, right? Those margins are narrowing. So I think they're all starting to see that the opportunity right now might be with new construction, where you can go and buddy up with the person who is creating supply. You can get out in front of it and still have access to deals that work for investors. So these red dots illustrate for you all of our teams that offer new construction income properties. So our Dallas team in Houston. In Georgia, you'll see we have the team in Atlanta. And then Florida is all red behind all those dots. Lots and lots of development and opportunity in Florida. So we have 3 teams in Florida: a team in Jacksonville, a team in Orlando or Central Florida area, and then a team in Tampa. But because there is so much opportunity in Florida, we're finding that a lot of the teams are starting to expand into other areas. They're covering a much broader area. And there's even some teams that have some overlap. So for example, in Southwest Florida, the Tampa team and the Jacksonville team are both building in the same area. So it becomes really critical for you as an investor to kind of understand how these teams are different, understand how to analyze the different types of properties so that you can kind of figure out who has the type of inventory that you're looking for and who's the person that you would just prefer working with. You'll also see we've got one outlier there up in the Midwest. That's our Cincinnati team. They're also building new construction homes as well. You'll notice a trend here. A lot of this opportunity is in the South and the Southeast. These are growing areas where population is moving to. Corporations are relocating, so they're bringing jobs to these areas. So you just think about the economic kind of outlook or the economic picture of a market like this. There's tremendous demand. Those people that are moving for those jobs, they've got to live somewhere, right? And housing supply is not created overnight. They're putting or contributing to that strain. The demand is so high, it's straining the supply. And so again, that spells opportunity for builders. They can come in and start creating that supply. There's meat on the bone for them to make a profit doing so. So that's why, generally speaking, you see a lot of the new construction trends happening in these growth markets. Across these teams, they offer a variety of product types. All of them are offering single family new construction homes. This particular one is from our Orlando team. I believe this property is in Palm Bay. Some of them are offering duplexes, which those are beautiful. These are actually from our Houston team. So you do have the ability to get into some multifamily, take advantage of, getting 2 doors under one loan slot, getting a little bit of economies of scale, getting into a multifamily. And then quadplexes, our Jacksonville team. This is a picture of one of the quads the Jacksonville team builds. So yeah, we've got a good amount of variety of inventory as well. Here's a little bit of a spread on the property options and price points. So single family homes in all the markets, they range from about $145,000 up to $250,000. I kind of gawk at that 145,000. I mean, that's amazing to me that there is a profit margin for a builder at 145,000. I can't see that happening for long, not when the cost of supplies is going up like it is. There's just not a lot there, I think. So I also love to think about the fact that, heck, I mean, I'm buying renovated homes sometimes in older markets for 130, and you're telling me I can get something that's brand new for only $10,000 more. As an investor, I'm listening when you tell me you can build something new for less than 150,000. To give you kind of I think a more accurate pulse on the majority, this is a good range here, but I would say a probably good median figure for most of the single family homes is about 200,000, plus or minus 10 to 15 is where I see the majority of the inventory kind of falling. Duplexes, those prices range from 275 to 330. Again, think about the price per door that you're getting there. Incredible. Really, really affordable property. You get a little bit, again, of those economies of scale, so you'll see slightly better rent to value ratios when you get into that multifamily space. And then the quadplexes in Jacksonville and Central Florida, those range from about 420,000 up to about 600,000. So we've got a good spread of property types and price points. So I don't think that new construction really excludes any type of investor. You can get in here with a pretty reasonably low amount of capital invested.